Shello, it's Mermaid Cora, and we are here for another Story Saturday. We are going into my favorite type of fiction, historical fiction, where it's not a true story, but it is based on history. So there are some things that really did happen, or places and such, but this actual story is from the author that they created it. Also, I am giving a viewer discretion advised, or maybe a verbal discretion advised, because we are talking about the time of tuberculosis, and I sometimes get a little bit sciencey and get a little bit too what's the word? Not involved, but I explain things like in depth. Also, a shout out to the Home Depot and Google for this raspberry picture here. It is gonna go great with the story because we are doing a synopsis of the mystery of Raspberry Hill. And again, found in the child section, which kind of deep to be in the child section, but it is important to know history. And I hope that the camera's showing how it kind of glints. That's really what the word mystery, and then that it glinted like this, I'm like, ooh, I like shiny things. Anyways, so the mystery of Raspberry Hill. It takes place during the time when tuberculosis, a lung disease of sorts, was rampant throughout the country, and a lot of people were dying. Fortunately, we live in this era where, though tuberculosis is still rampant in other countries and still happens here in the United States, we pretty much have taken care of it, and there are some options compared to back in the day when they didn't really know what was going on and they did their best. Anyways, tuberculosis does get shared by, kind of think of like COVID-19. If someone coughs on you, it's called a droplet, where like you can't see the virus, but it gets on you and you inhale it, and it affects primarily the lungs. And for a lot of these people, they unfortunately end up making a lot of fluid in their lungs just because of the way that the disease goes. And then they end up coughing a lot and, basically dying because of the fluid in their lungs. That it does involve, oftentimes, bleeding, like coughing up blood because of how forceful the coughs are, and then just like the destruction of the lung tissues and all that jazz. So let's go past the sadness, I guess, if we can, and talk about the mystery of Raspberry Hill. So the main character is Stina. She's 12 years old, and guess what? She is the only one in her family that has tuberculosis. And her doctor knows another doctor who works at a sanatorium, which is kind of like a hospital. Yeah, things were weird back then too. Like, I could go on. But anyways, it's sort of like a hospital where you stay and you get taken care of. Usually really well people go there, like well-to-do-ish, or people that will never be seen again. Anyways, so she's got tuberculosis. Luckily, the only one in her family, but she's like, it's taking me out and I'm gonna die soon. So she goes and she's at this new place and she's kind of exciting. She's doing better the nuns are taking care of her. The doctor's really nice, and she meets this boy that she sees only sometimes. And then she learns that she is only allowed to go to certain parts of the sanatorium, as there was a fire in one part. And then also she uncovers that maybe one of the nuns are trying to murder her. She saw a nun switch the vials. But then, maybe the nun is actually trying to save her. I don't know. Well, I do know, but I want you to find out for yourself by reading it. But turns out Stina, or Stina, her friend that's a boy is a ghost, and he ends up helping her get out of this not so good place because, yes, the doctor is not a great doctor. He is trying to be ahead of his time, which that's how things happen, but he's a little bit cuckoo. So things escalate quickly. Stina ends up living. It's great, but find out more about, this ghost boy and whether the doctor versus the nuns, what's going on, by going to your local library. Okay, thank you. I'll see you again. Bye.